I'm not threatening you. Say one more word, and that's 30 days. 30 days.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Sovereign Citizens Hall of Fame. Today we are courtroom hopping into, for the first time, the courtroom of Judge Tim Lewis of the Lakewood Municipal Court in the state of Washington. And just to give you guys a little tidbit, this is actually Judge Lewis's first month of working in this particular court. He has just been recently named judge to this courtroom. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles this new job. Not to say he doesn't have experience, but we know sometimes when we go to new workplaces, we could be a little timid on how we handle things. So I am interested in seeing how he handles this sovereign citizen before him by the name of Sherman Moore. With that being said, I'm so excited. I just want to hurry up and get into this proceeding. So without further ado, guys, let's jump in.
Mr. Moore, you can come forward, sir. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Are you Sherman Moore?
I am not.
You're not. Okay. And so are you appearing on Mr. Moore's behalf?
Yes.
Okay.
I am, and yes, here for that matter to handle the matter that's at hand.
Okay. And are you an attorney, sir?
I am the attorney, in fact, for the said name at hand here.
Okay, so you are an attorney representing Sherman Moore?
Yes, I will be handling the case for Mr. Moore.
Okay. And are you licensed by the state of Washington to practice as an attorney?
I am not licensed or a bar member or a lawyer or anything of the such, but I am here as a beneficiary executive for the said name.
Okay, before I respond, let me see if the city takes any position. Mr. Gunderson, is the city taking any position on the representation of Mr. Moore in this matter? I don't even know if you're appearing on behalf of the city in this matter.
Good morning, Your Honor. Will Gunderson, prosecuting for the city. Your Honor, the city does typically appear for the contested hearings in which officers have been subpoenaed.
Was an officer subpoenaed in this matter?
Yes. Your Honor, the officer is present. Officer Berglund is here. Your Honor, my position at this point is to request a short continuance in this case. The basis being I rely on the Judicial Information System, or JABS, review that information relevant to the particular case. Within the last 20 minutes, JABS database has gone down. Oh.
And
do
you take a position on the representative of Mr. Moore appearing in his stead this morning for purposes of the hearing?
Your Honor, ultimately, the city would defer to the court on whether or not the individual is present is allowed to act on behalf of the defendant. To cut to the chase, Your Honor, this sounds like it might be a sovereign citizen type of situation. I don't know if the individual that is seated here is in fact the defendant, or if he is a completely separate person, separate and apart from the defendant that was pulled over at the time this incident took place. So that is a red flag, so to speak, or a question mark that does get raised in the city's mind, for which the city does believe that a further inquiry by the court may be appropriate. But ultimately, Your Honor, with regards to any representation, city will defer to the court.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gunderson. So, sir, I'm going to ask you to identify yourself for the record, please.
I am one of the people.
I'm sorry?
One of the people.
Okay. Are you or have you been previously named or identified by the state of Washington as Sherman Moore?
I am not Sherman Moore,
okay,
the entity in which you speak of.
Okay. And do you have any relationship to Sherman Moore?
I am just the beneficiary of that name.
Okay. Well, the problem that we have here is that at this point, based upon the record that I have before me, Sir, you are not authorized to represent Mr. Moore as an attorney in this matter because you are not a licensed attorney by the state of Washington. And at this point in time, based on the record, Mr. Moore has not appeared in.
Oh, he's right here, sir. Sherman Moore is right here. The name in which you speak, he's right here, sir.
Well, that, for the record, you're holding up a piece of paper.
Yes, the document, Sherman Moore, the entity in which you speak of, and one in which you tend, or this court intends to charge. So I am just the beneficiary of said entity. That is all. And that's why I'm here. So basically, I'm trying to find out the nature of said charges that pertain to said name.
Sure, certainly.
Is this a criminal or a civil matter is what I'm trying to figure out here, sir.
This is a civil matter. So Sherman Moore, or an individual identified as Sherman Moore, was issued an infraction here in the city of Lakewood on September 5th, 2024, and was ordered to respond to the issuance of that infraction, which it appears that he did, and requested a contested hearing in which he is asking to challenge the evidentiary sufficiency of the information relied upon by the issuing officer who issued the infractions or the issuance of those infractions. But by requesting that hearing, Mr. Moore, or the individual who was issued the infraction named Sherman Moore, indicated that he would appear in person as a living person here in court. And the problem that I have at this point in time is that based upon the record that I have before the court, Mr. Moore has not appeared as a living, breathing human being in this court in response to his request for a hearing.
I am simply just a man on the land that is here on behalf of that name as the beneficiary for that name.
I understand that. But at this point,
There's a claim being made. So therefore, like I said, I'm just here to understand the nature. You say it's a civil, so where is the verified complainant for said charges?
the verified complainant is the city of Lakewood, represented by the attorney on behalf of the city, who is seated in the courtroom to your left, appearing down to my right. And Mr. Gunderson, I'm just going to ask you to formally identify yourself for the record.
Thank you, Your Honor. Will Gunderson, prosecuting for the city. I am licensed to practice law in the state of Washington. My bar number is 46991.
So the plaintiff in this case is the city of Lakewood. They are appearing here this morning through counsel, or this afternoon through counsel. It also appears that the officer who issued the infraction to Mr. Moore is also present in court in response to the subpoena that was issued for his appearance. It appears that the only individual who has failed to appear for this hearing is the respondent, Sherman Moore. And so at this point in time, with the matter having been on the calendar at 10:30 a.m., it's now 12:04 p.m. Given that Mr. Sherman Moore has not appeared in person for this hearing, pursuant to the rules for infractions in Washington courts, the court will find that Mr. Moore has failed to appear and will enter a finding of committed to each of the 5 infractions. And I believe that concludes our court's calendar for today. So thank you all very much. At this point in time, the court will be at recess.
Understood, Judge.
Oh yeah, I'll do it in the, yep.
All right. Court is in recess.
So are we continuing or what's? Based off of what grounds of what?
Mr. Moore did not appear.
Sherman Moore is here. I am the man of the Moore, Sherman of the Moore family. I am not the entity in which you speak of. What? What kind of charade show is going on here? So what happens now? I have to file an appeal? Okay, okay. So I'm being railroaded. So the officer never had to show or anything, basically on the basis that so the witness or the subpoena had never had to, I never got to cross-examine.
Well, guys, we have come to the end of this proceeding. And as we could see, that was definitely a wild one. Judge Lewis, being his first month or so, or first few weeks on the job, he's already, getting a little bit of excitement in. And as you can see too, as we're starting to watch a lot of these judges and prosecutors, they're starting to call this sovereign citizen behavior out like just blatantly for what it is. In the past, you didn't really hear them use the word or the words sovereign citizen, when a defendant started doing stuff like this, but now they just blatantly just calling it out. But what we are finding out, and this is for you guys information, a lot of the courtrooms are changing things up. A lot of them are deleting videos, as fast as they can. Some of them aren't even airing the videos anymore. So we don't know what's going to happen with a lot of these courtroom proceedings, but we shall see. But one thing I will say, for our first time being in Judge Lewis's courtroom, or should I say my first time, I don't know about you guys, I feel like he absolutely handled the situation well. Once my man Sherman Moore kept playing around, he said, listen, you know what? We're not going to play this game. Let me just go ahead and just put a failure to appear out for Mr. Sherman Moore since he isn't here. And, reality set in very quickly for Mr. Moore. And I just was surprised that he was willing to say something as crazy as, what's this charade going on? What's happening here type of thing. It's like, what do you mean? You came, you played games, you found out that, listen, Judge Lewis, no matter how new he is or how, easy you thought this was going to be, maybe Mr. Moore did this somewhere else and they let him linger on and play around with it. But nah, Judge Lewis said, I'm not having it. Failure to appear. So we'll just have to follow this case and see what happens after the fact or see what happens down the road. But Judge Lewis is definitely a real one. He's definitely not having it. So with that being said, guys, this is Sovereign Citizens Hall of Fame. As always, I appreciate you guys joining me, the commentary, the things that you guys been leaving in the comments, the different discussions back and forth. And we ask that, listen, be courteous in the comments, be polite. We don't need anybody, being nasty to others, but I have been enjoying reading the comments. Thank you so much for that. But with that being said, I'm getting ready to get out of the way, guys. Get ready. Let us all get out of here. So once again, this is Sovereign Citizens Hall of Fame. And with that being said, guys, Sovereign Citizens Court is adjourned. See you guys soon. God bless.